Hello, everyone, and welcome to Free Enterprise. This is our Sunday Community Club showcase featuring the Baron hero's journey as we go into the story of the famed mimic Go-Go. We've got Stony taking on Tybalt. I'm Roddy Sniper, joined the booth by Pancraz. We got Firebird Lover doing the restream, and Fulgran pushing the buttons to do the tracking behind the scenes. And Pancraz, bit of a unique flag set this week, as our runners think they have the answers, but we're not going to tell them the questions.
Oh yeah, that's always the fun of the mystery. You know, you can look at the YAML, you can figure out a few things, what's guaranteed, what's probable, what isn't probable, but it's always a question of how the seed rolls. 2% means nothing, 50% means everything, and, well, we're seeing some of the aspects of that right now here in the start screen.
Yeah, that 2% being a number that looting very large here, because our character here is Fusoya. The one thing we know about this flag set is that we're going to have the same character, just one character, but 5 copies of them. So we have 5 Fusoyas, and this was a 2% chance to roll according to the flag set.
Yep, also at 2%. Tella, on the other end of the spectrum, we had some people rooting for that in the chaos of a rather large D-Machine grind, but alas, instead, we're playing glorified Fuwario without the Miabs. It's going to be a fun time. So a little bit of the guarantees. I looked at the YAML, so you don't have to. You're welcome. There is 7 or up to 7 required objectives. We're going to see how many of them we have to need, but somewhere between 3 and all of them, with varying weights. That said, you are guaranteed one singular character. You are guaranteed that free bosses will be on. You are guaranteed that D-Mist Hunt is out there. Kano Free is 100%. GMP, G-Life, G-Sylph will all be available. You will be fighting Zeromus. You will be getting 3 kits. They won't repeat. You will have the spoon available. You will have cursed rings available. And you will not have key items in monster boxes. So a good bit of info to be gleaned from just going through that YAML, figuring out your strategy a little bit beforehand. We're going to look forward to seeing, well, how the runners will tackle things here momentarily.
So as you go through the probabilities of what might roll, what are some of the things that you're going to be looking for as a runner, knowing that, okay, you've got your things that you know are not going to happen, you know what is going to happen. What are those things that you're going to really be focusing on to try and say, okay, what information, this is information I need to get through this as quickly as possible?
Some of it is taking small notes about treasures, about shops, figuring out what you can and can't get, as well as how many zonks you get is going to be a big part of it as well. There is a chance for K Summon to be on. It should be like a 75%, as well as a 50% chance for the moon. If you start finding things, well, your random cabins and samurai helmets from your checks, it should be a good clue that you're working with a larger key item pool. Gonna have to make note of that. Gonna have to make note of what's available in those shops to see where might my sirens be. You probably don't need sirens with 5 Fusoyas, but something else to take note of, as well as kind of your treasure settings. Where do you want to loot? What do you want to loot? What loot is available? What tiering? Small notes like that can, shape a lot of those mid-game early routing decisions, and thus, well, really lead you to other places. Speaking of other places, we are off.
And we start off with the Legend Sword. Not exactly the greatest starting kit to have with this. Those have all been randomized as well as what they could have gotten. But once these foos get rolling, I don't think gear is going to be too much of a problem.
No, not so much. I mean, it will be a little bit of money if you want to buy some of those upgraded wisdom gears. You can't use an ice brand, so might as well sell it. But at least we do know that we don't have to hunt down that D-Mist. Seeing it there in the Baiken spot saves you a little bit of time for the boss hunting. Not that we aren't going to fight the bosses anyway, as we see Stony head right over to Mist Cave.
Yeah, I like this. Get Fusoya in Free Enterprise. Starts off 500 HP and a limited selection of spells. Every boss you defeat gets you a little bit stronger, so always worth trying to get those Fusoyas online as quickly as possible, because you never know. Nuke is right around the corner.
Oh yeah, but Plague, especially in that spot, not exactly what you want to see. A little bit of magic defense with no spells in hand. We're gonna have to return a bit later. Tybalt on the other side does see Stardusts in the Baron item shop, so we are operating with S Wild.
Yeah, those Stardust, the Stardust, the Legend, the Vampire would be enough to get through some of these early fights, and again, get maybe a tier 2 elemental spell, Virus, something to give a little more offense. We get Protect Ring out of the free check at Toroya with Edward.
Stony read better than I do. My reading comprehension needs an update. Looks like it's not 100% Demas Ton, it's 100% not Demas Ton. Technicality.
Yeah. Would have figured it out. Would have figured it out relatively quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely. But a good little bit. Tybalt does use that Stardust to great effect. Stony finds some Boreuses, however you want to pluralize it, as well as the carrots. He's gonna buy at least a couple of them. Oh no, the fake out. But a good little bit of early power getting here. Those J items are going to be able to propel you through those early fights until you get one of those big spells, whether it's a tier 3, whether it's Virus. Should shape things up nicely.
Yeah, also notice Starveils and Coffins available between the two shops in Troya. Nice things to have, especially in the early game if you need it.
Definitely. I'm a little surprised that our runners didn't necessarily check the weapon and armor shops. We are operating with S Wild with those findings, as well as having the chance for adamant armors to be on. You could be able to just buy one of them right over there in Mysidia, or in Troya, or wherever you want. Just need 500,000 smackaroos.
And well, normally that's a lot of gold to accumulate. Since Fusoyas really don't need much gear, you can sell a lot of this stuff that we're finding.
That should be pretty handy. A lot of money in hand means that you can get access to a whole bunch of things. Apples, Soma drops, all that jazz should be out there. So these Fusoyas can become the powerhouses they were always meant to be. Stony, reading the YAML as well, good stuff, figures out there are free characters on. You can get all of the Fusoyas you want right out the gate. Save a little bit of time, just fill up while you're, just walking around.
And especially since there's no real benefit to trying to slingshot any of these foos. If you find a crystal ring on Stony's side, that'll be nice.
Oh yeah, nice little bit of agility manip. Odd locationing, finding that in Damsian. It could clue you in a little bit for more of a T-Wild aspect, but a little bit low on some info at this point. A lot of Thunder Rods and lower tier loot that I've been seeing, though.
Yeah, there is a chance for T-Wildish versus T-Pro. We also have a chance of the loot being capped by either tier 6 or tier 7. So not really getting too much information on that, but
enough, maybe. So a little bit of a difference in approach here. Tybalt beelining these boss checks, trying to power up the foos that he has. Stony instead wants to really just overwhelm with the power of Lunar Staff. Get a whole bunch of foos, get them all going, and see what can be done. And for fights like this one, well, both will work out well.
Stony taking on the Octomam at the waterfall to get some experience on the foos. Not getting a lot of luck with that Grimoire there, while Tybalt taking on Mylon Z in Antlion.
We will do a little bit of Fallen, we will do a little bit of Odin with it. Pick our favorite.
The seed says you got your 2% chance at Fusoya. You're not going to get a good Grimoire roll.
Nope. You got your 2% already. You don't need more than 2%. Use it wisely. Looks like Sleep Venom Cure 3 and the Magma Key coming out at 700 HP. So the world, well, is your oyster.
Um, how much do you want to? How much do you want to press that magma key right now, knowing the shops are wild and you know not need to go pop a siren down the underground? Would you be going to face that right? Check that out right away, see what's down there, or would you be more inclined to say, let's just clean up the overworld?
It'll get put off a little bit if, I mean, hypothetically, pretend that I'm running the seed. I'd put it off a little bit, mostly because you can efficiently route outside of that. You can put it off. You don't have to do Fabul defense. You can come bundle it up, get your Sheila checks together, but maybe knock out your other overworld bosses, power up your Fu, get to do Baron Inn, maybe do ordeals, depending on how strong you're feeling and if you get a decent spell. And just kind of lean on that early power before you have to go down there. You might want to knock out more, do the Dwarf Castle checks, maybe Keyless Tower if you pick up Nuke early enough. There's a lot of that mid-game routing efficiency, especially in a overwhelming power Fusoya seed, that can really come to light.
So far, Tybalt seems to be following that plan, heading up to Mount Hobbs to get another Fu in his party and take out the Dark Elf.
Oh yeah, the overwhelming power of Life or Ice 1 gets access to the Heal and Blink spell. Still a little lackluster on full offense, but that's alright. Oh, yeah, Tybalt is going to do a quick little peek, see if the MP glitch is on, which we know it is.
Yeah, that's going to be very helpful once these Fusoyas start learning some of their bigger spells.
Definitely. One nuke or 3 nukes in the tank is one thing. All the nukes in the tank is, well, much preferable.
But to your point, not a lot of offense just yet, but fortunately the shops did roll wild, so they can buy the items normally found in the Japanese version of the game to help them through these early fights. Or just a good old reliable Ice 1.
Good old Ice 1. Nothing beats Ice 1. Except maybe Ice 2, but we're not going to talk about Ice 2. Fusoya also, if we wanted to front row our party, we start with those Lunar Staves. The vanilla gear was guaranteed, so you can just kind of bonk stick a couple things down.
Yeah, Lunar Staves are fairly good offensive weapons. They're no silent staff, but they're still pretty good.
Yeah, they'll do in a pinch. And with Ice 1 as your spell, you're in a bit of a pinch. Both runners pinching a little bit over here in Fabul. They say, Magma Key, not today. I want spells. Your spell's not really going to help here.
Say this is a fight you definitely want some better spells for, because Magus Sisters this spot is pretty tricky.
A little bit. I mean, thankfully we do have 800 hit points to work with, so that'll help out. But both runners, it looks like, have just about used up their J-item supplies to be able to grab that Blizzard on Mount Hobbs, which will help out. But we're missing a bit of oomph otherwise. Having that Stardust that we saw earlier, having this Boreas will help out, knock it out before the wall gets put up, or even a Gaia Drum if we found one of those. Expedite this fight a good bit.
Yeah, good roll in that Boreas there, taking out Mindy first, and Tybalt using the Blizzard and that 800 HP pull you were mentioning to good effect to get a good damage on the sisters and getting through the fight.
Hey, well, and there's your reward for getting through the fight. Ice 2 might be better than Ice 1. Ice 3 is better than them both. We've got offense.
Yeah, getting rid of Mylon Z before that as well, so...
Yeah, no real worries.
Surprise of casting Ice on Mylon and finding out, hey, that doesn't work.
Yep, Paildim still out there. We're going to pretend Paildim doesn't exist until he rears his head. And squiggly noodly head. But until that point, Ice 3 is going to get you through most things. And that's why Tybalt, after a quick detour in Silvera, looks like he's just going to go blow up ordeals. One Ice 3 should be able to take out every boss spot there.
Yeah, I do like this. Get 3 boss checks out of the way. 3 chances to power up your Fusoyas and get one of the top tier non-elemental spells, so you can just wreak havoc on the rest of the seed. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Not to mention, you've got another Fusoya waiting for you here on the mountain. Fill out that party a little bit.
We find hourglasses for sale in Silvera. That's always nice to have a few in your back pocket. The monster boxes are not going to have key items, but if you want, they're a good opportunity. They're a good opportunity to try and just get some better gear if you think you need it.
Not to mention, there are free bosses on, so if you find one of those dark imps or Baron guards in a rather punchy spot, you can stone them, but stopping them first gives you a little bit of extra safety. Fusoya is mighty, but not exactly the most sturdy.
That power shirt on Mount Ordeals will give a little bit of defense.
Oh yeah. Little power shirt action also lets you, if you do find that Pale Dim before you get non-elemental spell, helps you bonk it down a little bit more, well, efficiently. Looks like just some other base spells coming out at the 1000 HP mark as we get back attacked by Officer Soldier.
If I remember correctly, Fusoya's spell learning is weighted to give you the more basic spells early on, and then try and give the stronger spells near the end game, if I remember correctly.
That is correct. Doesn't always work out that way. I've had my 900 HP nuke seeds.
I was just going to say I've had that too.
They are a treat when they happen. But for every one of those, you also have the, 1800 HP nuke seeds and the 1400 HP virus seeds.
Yeah, those seeds are your first few bosses. You're just trying to get down with a drain spell.
My favorite. But not today. Virus coming out at 1100 alongside Weak.
Yeah, that's really going to get these runners going here. Virus, very powerful for the magic cost, and it's also a very fast spell.
Definitely. Delay 0 is a good time. So with this Ice 3 and the Virus in hand, we were talking a bit about it earlier, now I'd feel pretty comfortable in fighting some of those underground spots. The only big thing is I would want Warp available before we go and do any Dwarf Castle things. Not guaranteed that the Warp glitch is on, but if it is, well, that just saves you a bit of time.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. Just anything to avoid sealed caves sometimes, even if it's not necessarily the hardest boss there. It's a lot of walking.
A lot of walking. It's really fun to warp out, especially when you've got all these extra menus in the way.
Yeah.
And Stony going for the damage race. Mom Bomb looking scary, but fades away.
Yeah, 3,000 on that Ice 3 and close to 2,000 on the viruses. Even the extra HP that Bomb gets to give a better chance of seeing the extra phases, not gonna be that much of a problem in this spot.
Not at all. I looked away. I missed the spells that we just learned.
I unfortunately blinked as well, but Tella learned Media wherever they are.
All right, Tella. Mr. Stinky gonna have a little bit of a Medio duel somewhere. Alright, we're gonna zero in on Tippled Screen here. What do we learn? White Quake Toad. Those are some good spells.
Yeah, no, that Quake giving some very strong AoE damage, and White being one of the end game spells we were talking about. Yeah.
You can't understate the usefulness of Toad.
Yeah, there are definitely spots where it comes into play if you can wait the roughly 3 minutes it takes to cast.
Give or take. I mean, I'm just saying, we've got black magic, we've got white magic, we have summoners. There is also a Toad specialist in the game. It's got to be up there with those other big spell categories. 16 minutes, 13 seconds, we dropped the key in the well. Let's go explore.
Remains to be seen if Tybalt will join Stony on his way to the underground, or if he'll stop off at Baron Inn to clean up those two fights.
Looks like it. Wants a little bit more of that spell power. I don't blame him. Both of these are defendable. It's just a matter of how your ordering wants to go. A couple extra spells really lean in towards diving for that warp kind of play to make sure that you can check dwarf safely. Ooh, moon veils for sale in Agert. Those could be super solid. If I remember right, we do have, yep, our White Spear Altar objective. Could be a little scary, but nuke or with nuke in hand, your MP underflowing possible, and of course, well, one Moonveil, you could be pretty safe.
Yeah, Moonveil sometimes to get out of jail free fight, as Tybalt has Meteo.
Ooh, he joins Mr. Stinky wherever he is.
Two old men who are very confused with the concept of a rock concert.
I mean, what's wrong with a little bit of literality sometimes? It's just a matter of, is it more like hard rock? Might be
probably AM Gold soft rock.
Oh, okay. Depends who's casting it.
I did not see the spells, but we do get a tower key from the Barian spot.
Okay. Everything has hit with the key item so far. Not necessarily to say that, K-Main is the only thing on.
Yeah, I was going to say, we did get that protect ring from Bedward, but other than that...
Tybalt squishing the southwestern battlements before walking into Eblin Castle.
You gotta clear a path, right?
Yeah, always. Increase the landing zone. That'd be a good feature.
And on Stony's side, I'm pretty sure I saw at least Fire 3 and Stone. I'm not sure. I might have seen Warp, but both these runners are kind of very happy with the spells they have and just kind of clicking through them as quickly as they can.
Yeah, it looks like Fire 3, Stop, and Warp, looking at Tybalt's spell menu as he casts it here. We do get a Vanilla Staleman Skull in Eblin Castle as well. Vanilla Miabs are a 50-50 in the YAML, if I remember correctly. So it could be that we're working with a nice little hit here, and that could be used rather advantageously.
And some nice Hanzo steel to sell and
help fund that adamant armor.
Yeah.
Which might be exactly what Tybalt's looking for in here.
Yeah, good chance. Or even if I don't know if either of these runners have seen Stardust rods yet, that would be nice to have as well. Get that 15 wisdom bonus on those nukes.
Definitely. A little bit of apple, a little bit of power shirt. Then possibly, yep, one more vanilla Miab. That would be enough for my data points to say, yes, this is good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's our second one. That's a pretty good chance.
Yeah, looks like Stony also finds a vanilla alert over in the Tower of Battle. Ops to, well, Rocket's world. So satisfying.
Some very good weaponry right now that'll sell here, but not a whole lot. Do you like that Charm Rod for Stony?
That is a nice little one. A couple extra points of wisdom, not bad to have in the pocket. Especially with this top of tower boss looming. Quake and Ice 3, solid spells, but this spot is a little bit shy of 19,000 hit points in hand.
So yeah, very strong character, gets powered up very quickly, has a wonderful spell list. The top end wisdom isn't necessarily as strong as you'll get with a Palom or a Iridia, though.
No, not at all. A small little thing here. Tybalt, by doing those Eblin Castle boxes, does have money to pick up a couple Moon Veils over here in Agert. You might see a little bit of a more aggressive Fame Arch check possibly from him with that in hand.
Also, getting a ribbon out of that armor shop. That's another thing that could come in handy against many of these
yeah.
bosses.
Golbez shows up, you say not today with a finger wag, and you cross your fingers. Leviathan, though, not gonna be a scary fight up here.
Nope, and we have either the Element Spite or Rubicon at the Hook 2 spot, so likely not going to have to worry about that given how our objectives have rolled.
Speaking of our objectives, I haven't read them, I'll be fully honest, so I'm going to take a moment there, but it looks like we do have half of a few of them in hand already. That rat tail showing up, that legend sword starting item. Just a matter of, well, where's the rest?
We've been going so fast and furious. We've been on spell watch to see when Fu gets the good stuff. That both I also kind of just glanced and went, "Oh yeah."
Alright, so it looks like we're also going to need that adamant rock. Also going to need that hook, as well as a package, a darkness crystal, and or an earth crystal in some capacity. We're not guaranteed to have to do all 6, but there's a over 50% chance that we do. Alright, big white coming out for 8,000, knocks out Leviathan.
And
ooh, we get a blizzard.
That's a zonk.
2 zonks means that we do have an extended key item pool in some capacity. It's just a matter of, well, which one? Do we have K Summon? Do we have K Moon? We don't have K Moon.
Yeah, it's a 75% chance for summons to be on and 50% chance for the moon. So I think that early Fey March play you were talking about may be the way to go.
Oh yeah, I'm liking it more and more. Until, we find Evil Wall in the Leviathan spot, and then I'm not really liking it anymore.
I like that more than this Alt Gauntlet.
All gauntlets are all gauntlet, small gauntlet. We've got virus. It's gonna be fun. Just might take a couple punches in the interim.
Yeah, the gauntlet here with 5 Quake casters won't be too much of a problem here. It's just the time. It takes a while.
Just the time. But we do have a couple J items too. Those blizzards can take out these ice weak enemies pretty comfortably. Save a little bit of time on some of these Quake casts.
Yeah.
There are some options.
Meanwhile, Tibble going through fighting Dr. Luge at the first Dwarf Castle spot.
Still a little bit missing on some of those biggest spells, I should say. Both runners hitting that 1500 HP threshold, no nuke yet.
And our last hurdle in Dwarf Castle is the turtle, Karatsa. And again, should be pretty easy to get through that HP here.
Yeah, now that we've gotten past that 900 HP slump, we've got power for days. Some of the moon and summon spots might be scary, but most of the rest of the bosses, barring something ridiculous like Valvalis, would be pretty comfortable. That will be a little bit of a spooky one if she turns up.
Yeah, definitely. But both these runners wrapping up their checks, Tybalt watching the hand slowly meander to the crystal while Stony takes on the killer tofu.
Not the killer tofu. Is that beyond extra firm, or is that silken?
I think it was the rejected first draft, the attack of the killer tomatoes.
Ah, there we go. Pass pick up on Tybalt's side. Maybe we always get that darkness crystal. And the warp glitch is on today. We're gonna pick up an extra hourglass 2 from the sealed cave, it looks like.
Less upset about seeing that since you warped in rather than make the full walk.
Oh yeah, definitely saves you some disappointment. but also a nice item to have in the back pocket. I'm not sure how many we picked up over in Silvara. Well, as we do a little bit of extra shopping and walk down this tower, this is as good of a time as any. We're at the 26-minute mark. I haven't shouted anybody out today. Huge thank you to our behind-the-scenes crew and my partner in crime. Thank you, Rowdy. Thank you, Firebird Lover, for putting on the show. Thank you, Fallgran, for pressing some lovely buttons, including this button that's about to show up. Thank you all for turning out as we see an automotive glass specialist.
And of course, I must thank you, Pancras, for joining me here in the booth today. It's always a good time.
Oh, I'm just here to say words and sometimes press buttons. Not these buttons, that's Falgren's job today. But a different button.
Stunning taking advantage of the Dwarven Healing Pot in the back end of the Dwarf Castle path. It's always a nice way, since I don't think either of these runners have seen too much as far as camping gear.
No, not so much. Sony also, had a little bit of a rock concert over in the Tower of Babel, so needs a little bit more replenishment. But we are about to get our first look over here in the Fey March. After a quick detour.
They will save, I think, partly because of that lack of camping gear, getting floats on to avoid taking the damage every step through the magma tiles here. I do like that. And also going to check the chest here.
Yeah, Tibble taking a bit of a more loot-focused approach, trying to find some of that big POW items, seeing if there's an adamant armor available, seeing if you could pick up a Stardust Rod or something to that effect. Just because one of those would be pretty cozy.
The plus 15 wisdom on that Stardust Rod, or the plus 15 to everything on the adamant armor would go a long way in improving that offense, and in the adamant armor's case, definitely some survivability.
Exactly. Near indestructibility is a pretty good thing, especially as you're walking down this land of summon monsters. But instead, it's a crystal ring.
That ring does bring one thing to mind, is that we haven't seen the other ring that we like to see a lot, and that's the curse ring to reduce that agility, to set up an anchor.
True. The, S Wild throwing a bit of wrench in the easy finding works of where it can be. Could be in any of these armor shops. Could be in this one. Nope, bag is full.
That was a Bacchus wine from the Feymarch freebie chest, so that moon's starting to creep into my mind a little bit with the number of zonks we're starting to see.
Oh yeah, could be the moon, could be both at this point. We have a lot of terminal key items, we have a lot of, a fair amount of zonks. Going to be a question of, how many more do we find in these next couple free checks, so to speak? We still have Sheila 1, and we still have these 2 Fey Marches. And it's a rather fantastically sparkular Fey March down here today.
It is definitely full of stars. And Tybalt appears to be saying no to that, which, considering the options we have left, we've seen Plague, but we still have Pale Dim, we still have the D-Lunars, we still have Wyvern, and probably most frightening of all with this party is Ogopogo.
Oh, definitely don't want to see Onopogo today. The Moonveil will help out, but that locks you out of some of the healing. But I think we saw elixirs in Baron as an option.
I believe you are correct, which, those are something that Tybalt's looting are going to be probably very well, the money is going to be very well spent on those, even if you can't find the top-end gear that we've been talking about.
Definitely. Will be near essential for a few of these. That said, if there is a Wyvern down there, I'm just pulled up the YAML. It is guaranteed to be Witchburn on today. So it might just be a retreat. It might be an Ice 3 in the face at the Asura spot. You won't know until you check.
Tybalt now following in Stony's footsteps, heading up the tower of the lower battle. And Stony getting their Dwarf Castle check out of the way.
He picks up that free pass, gonna warp and grab the hourglass as well. One nice thing here, Stony has hit that 1800 hit point threshold before diving down to that Fey Marsh, whereas Tybalt is going to hit it here in the tower, having access to, well, Nuke. It's going to help out and might prompt Stony to spy those Fey Marsh bosses a little bit earlier. Or maybe we'll go visit Sheila. I don't know.
Yeah, you can make an argument for both of them. I'd be probably a little bit more inclined to that Fey Marsh if I had the Moon Veils in Tybalt's pocket, because that makes Pale Dim a lot more palatable, at least.
Definitely. Plus, we also don't necessarily have the guarantee that K Summon is on. It might all just be on the moon.
That is true.
Probably not if we're going raw percentages, but who likes to be influenced by raw percentages? We're in a 2% kind of seed.
I was gonna say, we started off with the game saying, no, I don't care about it. Never tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds. I'm putting it all on black. I'm putting it all on 0. We're gonna see what happens.
Stony charging down through the Fey Marsh, gonna get their bottle of wine at the Fey Marsh freebie, as Tybalt going to take on that Leviathan and checking these alert chests on the way.
Yep, nice little 08 Petrus down here in the cellar. But from here, we're just gonna... The big question is, where are these key items? Everything kind of shuts down at this point, all the items that we've picked to. There's nothing to chase other than Sheila and what's down here. We gotta find something. We need a Baron key.
Yeah.
We need a pan. We need a darkness crystal. Dare I say it?
Dare.
I will dare that.
Yeah, it does look like, unless the answer is on it, the summon flag did roll on. Sheila 1 is kind of looming large right now.
Definitely.
Which of these rounds will be the first one to try it, or will they take their chance in the Fey Marsh here?
Well, this little save in this cabin says to me that Stony, at least, is a little interested in peeking what's down here. Oh, but Tybalt does find the big one. What he's been looking for the whole time. 1 adamant armor, if you please, from
that is
Babel.
A great find. Stony decided only after the first alert to say, no, I'm good. I'm not going to worry about the rest of these. And Tybalt taking a few more of them and finding the big prize.
Rewarded for your persistence. Thank you very much. I will now blow everything up. After this small message from our sponsors, the Alt Gauntlet. That said, the adamant armor is going to speed up that Fusoya. You get your viruses queued a little bit earlier, and you will have the extra power to just use viruses. Going to be a lot of little time saves coming out from here on out.
Yeah, Tybalt taking that, I think the net gain of that time taken checking some of the monster boxes that Tybalt did, as opposed to Stony just kind of charging through and focusing on the bosses, I think that's gonna pay off for Tybalt for getting it this early in the season.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of a wyvern situation here. It looks like over on the Leviathan spot on the left, but just uses Blitz today. Nothing too scary. We have innate lightning resistance from those Sorcrows, so we'll just shrug it off a little bit. Can't quite shrug off this nuke that's about to reflect. Rest in pieces, Hero Fusoya. We will miss you.
I appreciate trying to... I like the idea, get as much damage as you can before you have to play Life Potion Roulette with these nukes. And, ooh.
Yeah,
okay.
Don't want that hitting your Starveil Wearer, but Wyvern only having a little bit of spell power, on top of the fact that our Fusoya should have some pretty good dodge chance. Means we're only taking 500 there.
Yeah, Good roll there on that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
387 as well. Wyvern, not the scariest fight for Moptastic Party.
I was expecting those nukes to hit for a little bit harder, but fortunately, Stony trusting the Fusoya is a lot more than I would have, and should be able to get through this.
Oh yeah, I'm used to my Yongs taking a good 1700 in the face. Little different. There, that's more like it.
That's
68.
what I was afraid of.
Can't dodge them all, it looks like. But we've got more Star Veils. We'll just mix it up a little bit, reflect a couple more spells.
Yeah, Stony's
It's becoming a bit of a clock race.
Yeah, getting some life potions, get at least some other targets here to take some pressure off.
We're hoping this one rolls low. 538 will do it. One fun thing about the single character kind of challenge, while we do have Fusoya in hand and he is a mighty, mighty mob, we are operating with everybody at 20 agility. No plus, no minus. Well, 1 plus, we do have a crystal ring apiece. But we are operating pretty fair as far as agility is concerned, without that cursed ring pickups, without the ability to really anchorize somebody. So it's going to be a little bit trickier, especially with these summon and moon spots in how we navigate things. But, well, turns out well for Stony. Knocks down that Wyvern, gets a Baron Key from the Jerkbird.
That does confirm the light theory that we were leaning towards, that the summon fights had rolled on to have key items, and getting a very, very nice one to have.
Definitely opens up 2 more checks on, since, well, we know K-Summon's on, the basement is in play. Nice little bit of information gained. Now, can we get similar information from the Asura spot next door?
Yeah, because if we see a Zonk there, that definitely, to me, that tells me that Moon is more likely. Because we've already seen a good handful of Zonks. We've almost seen almost as many Zonks as we have the summon spots, if I'm doing the math correctly.
Yeah, we should be at 4, I want to say. We've got the Protect Ring, the 08 Petrus, we've got the Blizzard, and the Hourglass.
Yeah, so if we don't get any value, if we don't get value off another summon spot, it does suggest.
Yeah, there is minimum 1 more zone. But if there's, just by virtue of K-Summon adding 5 locations to it. But if we, say, get 2 zone, both of Baron leads to nothing. Well, we're operating with moon information here. We found the pass, we know that's in the key item pool, so that can't take the 1 Zonk spot from K-Main. So just playing fair.
And speaking of playing fair, Paladin not really playing too fair with those hits on the front row Foos, but I think that the blue Foo has the Crystal Ring and was able to resist that dragon attack very nicely to finish it off.
Yeah, Crystal Ring isn't playing fair. Ooh, the hook pickup. So not quite playing fair. Gonna give us access to that rat tail turn in Objective 1, as well as the pink tail. That'll bring an adamant armor of Stony's own into his hands.
Yeah, we will have adamant parity at that point, at least temporarily.
Definitely. A little bit of, nuke to the face later, and Tybalt can pick up a second of his own.
Right now, Tybalt is going through the Sylph Cave. Gonna check the Toad Lady chest here and try to maybe get another one of those adamant armors. And then setting up Sheila 1. I don't think Stony set up Sheila 1 at all.
Stony did not. Popping back over here to the carrot shop, please. In Troya, before making any further decisions, might just be wanting to go grab a little, extra cabins after running out over in the Feymarch.
Very nice to have that ability to refill. Stony has not taken advantage of the MP glitch at all, but I can appreciate that. You lose it every time you get a free heal. It takes a few seconds to set up. you know, it's a matter of what you're comfortable with and what you feel prefer to use.
Definitely. I'm also going to recheck the YAML real quick to make sure that I read the MP glitch correctly. Yep, on 100, off 0. So we should be playing with that. Rat tail leads to the pan. Going to be an extra objective there, rewarded for putting off that Sheila one. As well as going to get, well, the shiny.
Yeah, Stoney's got to be very happy to see that. Because that, again, like you said, that adamant armor goes a long way. Goes a long way in helping that some of those agility problems, like you said earlier.
Definitely. You get one foo up to a little bit more speed, gonna really help out for some of those scarier fights. Tybalt picks up that Luca key, and now go pick up his hourglass. The legitimate way. So he knows at this point the answer is in Baron. Or sorry, the answer is in the Fey March.
Yeah, that's never feels good when you've got two lunar sparkles staring you down, knowing that one of them is your path forward, but
possibly both as your path forward. You could have one holding your darkness crystal, which gates extra things. It's hard to just skip one at this point, especially since you're kind of in a bit of a bottleneck.
And fortunately, as Stony showed, adamant rock off the sylphs.
All right, the objectives are coming in hard and fast at this point. We've got the rat tail, we've got the pan, we've got the forge. We could be in crystal mode right now. That is an availability. It's a 5% chance for it to be required 3.
Tybalt going up the Tower of Zot. Did I miss an Earth Crystal?
I don't think so. I wonder if Tybalt's Miab Adventures isn't just for adamant armors, and if he is working with the AK Miab assumption and checking things out.
Yeah, that is a possibility.
We're just looking for extra spots, extra data points to check it. Gets rewarded with the extra armor. Why not? Thanks, dog. The up dog check is the best check. But could just be checking these single box dungeons to fully rule out that K-Miab isn't on. I don't know how much Miab reading and investigating our runners did, or not Miab, YAML investigating and reading they did beforehand.
Yeah, fortunately for Tybalt, the time investment is paid off with some adamant armors that will help out, though the adamant armors kind of do have a bit of a diminishing return with each one you get.
Definitely. Although, a little less so, I think, in a all Fusoya seed. Up to 4 of them can be pretty solid to really shore up that wisdom deficiency that you're working with.
That's true. Making up for those relatively, still very good, but not as good as they could be stats.
Exactly. Stony turning in the pan on top of that base Sheila 1 gets the Twin Harp. It's an interesting one. Your Twin Harp could be something good, but it is a bit of a walk. It is something that you might have to nuke twice. Whereas you do have the 2 checks in Baron.
Baron also long check because of the additional fight of the D-Mist, and the walk there, but yeah, going for the density play here, Stony, it looks like.
I'll take a little peek over here. Tybalt has done, let me do a quick count, 1, 2, 3, 4 dungeons of Miabs, and has gotten nothing. Might be erring away from them going forward, especially with 2 adamant armors in hand for his troubles. But is entering the neck, or the start of the bottleneck down here. Question is, which to fight first?
I usually go for the queen spot because it's got a little bit less HP.
Oh, yeah, a little less HP, a little less punchy. a little more magically inclined, but we're operating with double sparkles. You don't care too much about the magic stat. The only thing would be depending on the witch burn. But you've got food, you've got adamant armors. Any of the scary spells are all elemental, so you'll be fine. Probably. Asterisk, some definition. Find C store for details.
It's kind of like calling the Dark Imps a free fight. There's that little asterisk behind it.
Yep, some restrictions apply. Not available in all 50 states. And hourglasses are cheating. But does opt for that Asura. See a little bit of nuke to the face for Pale Dim Friend as we fight a different kind of Pale Friend over on the left side.
We have a variation on our double dragons, but even though the Demist really isn't a dragon, but you know, technicalities.
Yeah, dames and pains, no longer bames and dames. But nuke solves all problems. As long as that problem doesn't rhyme with Schmau Malice.
I do like this. I do like Stony going down to check the basement, given the equipment that they have. Makes a lot of sense to go do that. It makes a lot of sense to get this out of the way and avoid walking back in to Baron.
Especially with the adamant armor equipped.
Hey, a free gold apple to help boost up one of those foods as well.
So Hook, not quite the dream item. Oh, it's just going to be the Baron guards in the basement. And finding Hook first makes it real brutal to just leave. You're gonna opt into the Wyvern fight as well while you're down here. Piggy, double miss, unlucky. For us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Stony very happy about that. Going with Quake before the stone, and yeah, getting a much more efficient stone cast out of the way.
And lives up to the name. So where is our final Zonk? Oh,
well,
could be right there. All right, so we're working. With that in my hand, you'd have to, or rather, with knowing that it's K Summon on, without knowing that K Moon is on, your Twin Harp could lead to your terminal item. There's some branching path going on here between Baron, Twin Harp, and what's on the moon. Actually, it looks like there's one more Zonk in play, with K Bahamut out there. Any of these could lead to nothing, or it could lead to what you're looking for. Which goes without saying for most seeds, but having that extra Zonk information, we do have a more likely path forward, a more restrictive path.
Stony showing Bahamut. Is it nuke? Let us show you how.
It was new, briefly. It's also food.
Wow, what a surprise.
Ah. A little sad we don't have silly names on either side. It makes it a little easier to distinguish Fusoya from Fusoya. From Fusoya.
Stony makes the long trek down to the Baron trash can to see what's waiting down here. Tybalt getting the hovercraft.
Gonna go grab adamant number 3, just a package from Baron. Now that is an objective. Let me pull up my sticky note. It's now a 15% chance for a Rec 4. A little bit higher odds.
Stony immediately rushing to cash in that objective.
Hey, look, it's a foo. Hey, wait a minute, that's not Fu.
Rydia very grouchy that Fu has taken her place in this timeline, apparently.
You're not allowed in this village. I'll burn it myself. Green fire, that's quite nice. We burn the village, we get objective 4, but we do not get the crystal yet.
So we are heading to Cave Magnus for some music.
Yeah. We're working with a bit of a 25% chance that in a vacuum that the next objective gives you your go mode. But like you said, a little detour first. We need some tunes. Now, will it be tunes to Zot to Darkness, or will it be tunes to Darkness to Zot? The chain ends with the spoon, one way or the other.
Typical picking up some Ether 2s in Cave Eblin. Always a nice thing to have when you got a food party. There's those Stardust rods.
Oh, waste no time, buys 5. Let's slap them on.
Yeah, no, good call here.
3 adamant armors, 5 Stardust rods. These mops are gonna be packing a punch now.
Now, we'll be curious to see if Tybalt goes in now and checks the Stoneman chest, or decides has enough information to say that the Miabs did not roll on. Does look like he's satisfied with that knowledge. Good.
Doesn't check for the character though. It could have been a Fusoya.
You know, I think at this point in time, you're not going to take Fusoya. You've got Fusoya. You've got Fusoya. You've got Fusoya. You've got Fusoya. I think you're good.
Yeah, maybe. But the one Fusoya doesn't have the adamant armor on. So you could get a Fusoya that could equip an adamant armor. Just throwing it out there.
These are the C's that we think about when we start off with we get a Rydia Tella Edwards start, and we're just like, can we have something, please, to work with?
No, the answer's no. Best we could do is second Edward.
On a no dupes flag set.
Oh yeah. So enjoy your 3-person party as you go fight Evil Wall at Unduplicated. I'd have put it at, King Queen Evelyn, but you can just hide that. All 5 Foos dodge the weak spell.
Very
They
nice,
say that
very
they can't, but I think they can.
They're just saying it to make the Dark Elf feel a little bit better about how badly that went for them.
It's okay, guys. We can't. It's our fault. It's okay, bud.
So, to avoid the ire of chat and to live up to tradition, I think it's time for Pancras and I to take a few seconds to catch our breath and let you enjoy the music from DJ Spoony B.
With this pickup, the layout of the seed is revealed to us, the vision's clear. We'll get the darkness crystal.
And likely going to be making a beeline for Cave Bahamut to see if that is our final check, or if we do have to do a little bit more hunting on the lunar subterranean.
Oh yeah, having a Zonk in Cave Bahamut would be an interesting find. Would change the landscape here a little bit. But with all those adamant armors, we'll be able to fight those bosses a little more comfortably. And should it be exclusively the Earth Crystal in the bottom of the LST, well, it's just how the cookie crumbles. I've had those seats. It was exactly KMEOB with the magma key and hair dryers, and oh, that was a rough ladder race.
Now, looking at the YAML, we do have a 20% chance that our fifth objective will be enough to get us the crystal. Do you take the chance on White Spear Altar? Or do you go for what you know is more likely to at least give you an objective and have that in your back pocket as insurance?
That's an interesting question. Probably, all things considered. Cave Bahamut and your White Spear Altar should be about equal difficulty, so to speak. But if it is 5 of 6, you're right down there at the bottom of the LST already. And if it's not, you have to make that walk anyway. You know, saves you possibly a trip up Zot as well. It should be about time neutral either way.
We'll see what path Stony takes. Does look like they are heading to the lunar subterranean, where they want to make sure that there's something that they can get off the lunar dais as far as a character. You know, potentially a throw.
Might be an edge even.
We do have some good ninja swords. Edge would be very nice for this flag. I wouldn't
say no.
Yeah, just a foo.
Nuts. One peanut.
Usoyas can buy many peanuts.
What? How?
Usoyas can cast nuke on things that can get money that can be exchanged for goods and services.
It all makes sense now. That's what I think. Stony does opt to dive down here. What a rock concert. Glad about the tickets.
Yeah, definitely.
We now have Medio parity as well between the runners, so it's anyone's game.
So that is Tybalt's Darkness Crystal.
Nice little pickup. I wonder if we want to gamble on the 5 and 6 play, if you can skip Baron for a little bit.
I could see Tybalt doing that. You know, you last locationed the Baron key and the hook. I think there's might be a little bit of incentive to go ahead and to push that moon objective.
It all depends on if you're feeling behind or not. Baigen down here in the White Spear Altar. Little spooky. Look at that in armor. I'm just gonna beat him up.
Plenty of Quake cast to neutralize the arms, and it does look like Tybalt's at least checking the shop here, but likely going to be going down and clearing out Baron Castle as well. judging by checking the armor shops, possibly looking for adamants for sale, or maybe a curse ring, just to kind of help with that agility situation a little bit more.
Probably be leaning for the latter there. Even with the adamant armors, a 35 versus 20 agility isn't quite enough for your RA2, RA1. Have to do some math, but no math on stream, it's against the rules. But a curse ring nullifies all that math, makes it nice and easy for a pure reflect party, like we have.
Yeah.
Could also be looking for arty bows and arrows to make it a Zerker party instead.
You know, really maximize Fusoya's strengths there with the Berserker strat. I do like that.
I think so. Yeah. He can wear the arty bow, he can wear the adamant armor, you've got a crystal ring, that's basically enough right there. It's like 5 multipliers.
Yes, it is. Our third commentator is pointing out there is a Fusoya-based flag set in the Baron Hero's Journey that the club founder Alchemy has created, where you have to rely on Fu as an archer for the early game. So, one of the many twists and turns that the Baron's Hero Journey can take these runners.
And if you want to see it, you can join the race next week. Our winners do get to pick, I believe, the character featured or character-themed flag set for the following week. White Spear Altar is conquered, but no crystal. We have to do everything.
So, Artemis Bow, we're one step closer to Zerker strats.
Honestly, yeah, that's 60,000 gold saved right there. You're ready to go.
But yeah, that does mean it's 6 of 6, and Stony wisely gonna press the ribbon room. Makes sense. There's 2 chances of getting the key item here. Not figuring that they're here. They might as well check the lunar subterranean to see if that 50% rolled.
I don't hate it, but you haven't narrowed down. There's only 2 key items left. It could be that everything is up there in the K7 spot, but you can't rule out the possibility that it is exactly the Earth Crystal in the LST. It's a little tricky.
Yeah, could have dropped a save and save scummed out of and reset out of the Cape Bahamut if it was the Spoon or any other Zonk.
Opens more avenues. Could even be that Cape Bahamut is the Zonk and we have the Spoon and the Earth Crystal down here. There's options.
Yes. Yeah. And that would be a very prescient play by Stony if that is the case.
Glare does not hit Adamant Fusoya. Unlucky.
Whose magic defense is high, but Glare at this spot certainly is nothing to be trifled with.
Glare at most spots. I'm answering chat question, not necessarily. It's mostly a matter of how the YAML rolled our K-Moon as an option. If K-Moon hits, then there is a chance that we don't have to 17 to 17 because... Oh wait, yeah, because your Spoon isn't guaranteed to be behind the Earth Crystal. It could just be the Earth Crystal is on the LST or Cape Bahamut, which gives you nothing, and the Spoon is to be found. If K-Moon doesn't hit, well, then yeah, it's a 17 to 17 guarantee, and your Earth Crystal is in Cape Bahamut.
Just an Assassin's Dagger and a glass hat off the ribbon room to go with that Artemis Bow from the White Spear Altar. So Stony gonna check the Summoning Altar here.
Nice and quakeable. Love it.
Yep. Go break their toys, and we'll see what this one has to offer.
Mm-hmm. This little shop of horrors, what lies inside? Well, could be an item, could be a Fu. Could even be 2 Fus at the top of Zon.
That is
Timble gets the hard news. There's a package there. What lies in wait?
Nice to have. Again, get that objective, and it looks like saving it, and just an Excal.
Oh. Yeah, Moon not looking great at this time. with the 50% chance that Earth crystals in, or a little over 50% even, that Earth crystals in Cave Bahamut. This bottom of the LST is starting to get a little scary sounding. I like finishing up the Crystal Sword altar, be a little thorough on the bottom, but maybe Murasame is going to get a little bit of skipping action.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me because it's relatively quick to get to compared to the rest of the Lunar Subterranean.
Plus, you could pop a siren on the way. Not that we found sirens, to get some experience. Your foos might need it. That's unpleasant.
Yeah.
Stony doing some live cost-benefit analysis. The T-chart is open, pros, cons, decides. Yep. Nuke is good.
Yeah, with having the Cure 4 to take care of the big waves and the fractional damage from the counter blaze that's coming out, not a lot of HP at this spot. It makes sense.
Not a lot of HP, a lot of punches, yeah. Got a lot of punches. But thankfully, the magic is also low. As we're seeing, there is a chance for these blaze counters to miss. First punch lands on Adamant Fu.
And I don't know if that Adamant Fu also has one of the crystal rings, which provides an extra resistance to dragons, so yeah.
Although Ogopogo, not a dragon.
That's right.
Just a noodle.
I always forget that.
Still waiting on noodle protection to be added to the game. That way we can finally take on Hookrat Ogopogo safely.
Well, with our new forks in the randomizer, hopefully we will see that possibility.
Right. I'll have to get on that. Spaghetti on that. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say.
We won't take gnocchi for an answer.
Stony nukes a question. Gets a white spear. Off by one error. One error. Not the goods.
Yeah, I would say that Lunar Subterrane, likely haunted. We do still have the possibility of it, but say that's pretty low chances given the information we have. So, I'm gonna head out and cabin up.
Little cabins. So I guess our final big questions relates to a couple of the other smaller things. What have we hit? What haven't we hit? Can we use the MP glitch?
I know Tibble tried it earlier, but was not having luck with it.
As Tibble wraps up this Baigan and Stony encounters the natural habitat dweller on the moon. Another great spot to shout out our behind-the-scenes crew. Give a little bit of fun and love. We've got Tibble and Stony here putting on the show here live on twitch.tv/freeenterprise. Give them a follow. Give them some love. They are showing us how mops are utilized in this modern day and age. Shout out to our behind-the-scenes crew, of course. FBL, putting on the show. Fallgrim, pressing those buttons. Roddy, thanks for joining me here. My chat.
Absolute pleasure doing commentary with you, Pancraz. Jeff definitely loved watching these two, who are regulars on the restreams here at the Baron Heroes Journey. Showing these two runners definitely could show Stanley Spadowski a thing or two about how to use a mop.
One or two. Crystal shield, though, not a mop, not a bucket, just a zonk. And Cave Bahamut looms large.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Tybalt after getting the objective, finding out that it's not 4 out of 6, or because I don't believe they checked the package just yet.
Yep, did not turn in the package, so we're gonna cabin up here on the moon, and then
Does look like they're also going to take the 50-50 gamble that the moon rolled on, as Stony going through and getting to see what waits a cave Bahamut with the Earth Crystal.
we've seen a lot of the nastiest things: natural habitat, Ogopogo, wyvern. Now Val has not been found. Neither has this chucklehead.
I was going to say, we haven't seen Golbez.
Although Val wouldn't be too scary here. Not 255 MDF, just 254. Golbez, not the scariest either, just a lengthy dude who's going to eat a couple people.
Stony applying the mini status to all of their Fusoyas to make sure that the paralysis, the hold gas, does not take effect. Still going to have to play a little bit of luck to see which ones stay standing after the shadow phase. And it doesn't look like Tybalt has exited out and is heading up to join Stony in this fight. So we have a race.
Oh yeah, makes that save scum at the bottom of the moon. Gonna possibly come back to the Earth right afterwards with the Earth Crystal in hand with the package to turn in. Did complete the White Spear altar, so that'll help out a little bit there. Just a matter of how quickly can we defeat these bosses. The ribbon and the extra adamant armor is going to mean less of Tybalt's foos get eaten here, more possibilities for whiffs. And thankfully, adamant Fusoya does live on Stony's side. We've got the walls up, the viruses reflect puny damage.
As Golbez using virus and elemental spells, the elemental spells won't be too scary on the adamant Fu. The virus probably, the magic attack this spot isn't too bad if I remember correctly.
It's fairly weak. It's enough for your cape or for Bahamut to still wreck your day with Mega Nuke and its extreme spell power. But you don't need more than 5,500 damage typically.
Yeah, even those Fire 2's not doing a whole lot on Golbez, so the nukes definitely carrying the load.
We are seeing a little bit of the effect of that Stardust Rod pick up on Tybalt's sides. The 5,500 nukes coming out from Stony versus the 7,000 or 8,000 nukes from Mop triple exclamation mark. Helping out a little bit. That said, the wall spell wears off. We have one nuke left in the tank from Fusoya in the center slot. As Tybalt in second, out first.
Yeah, I think a big part of that, like you said, very, very close in those finishes of the Golbez fight. But I think, like you said, that extra few thousand HP per hit from the Stardust Rods coming into play there.
The Stardust Rods, the extra couple adamant armor is giving that extra wisdom oomph. Both runners get their Earth Crystal, both runners locked into a 17 of 17.
This is now a foot race to get to the top of Zot, get through the two bosses there, and then get back down to Troya and get that finished off.
Oh yeah. Now, we're going to have to think ahead a little bit here. Don't want to drive the whale straight over to Troya. Troyan Parking Authority will be writing some tickets otherwise. Stony doesn't fall for the bait, switches over to the Enterprise.
The vehicle that size has to burn through a lot of fuel anyway, and the price of gas, it's more fuel efficient.
Exactly. More fuel efficient. Lunar crystal power is a scarce commodity in this day and age. Tybalt has to do the small detour, though, burninate to the countryside with that package in hand.
Yeah, that cutscene will be a few seconds back. That Stony will get as a cushion. So.
And no curse string still found.
Other than maybe Kaipo, I don't think there's an armor shop we haven't checked.
No, I don't think so either. Just Kaipo remains out there. We've checked Baron, we've checked Agert. Tybalt made a little peek in Eblin. Maybe Mysidia? I'm not sure we stepped in Mysidia's armor shop.
Yeah, that might be the other. That might be the other one.
Yeah, and as our tracker says, or sorry, our restreamer says, nobody's checking Kaipo. We have a foo in our backpack. We don't want him to emerge.
Yeah, no, that would be a really bad time loss.
Yeah, just a bit. Especially with our 20 agility anchor, and that spot's low agility, we have the chance for some annoying boss. No gauntlets can remain, but no chuckleheads either. Ah, there she is.
Yeah, I don't think Valvalis is gonna be much of a headache as she could have been at other points in the seed.
No, not at all. Magic Sisters, or sorry, Magus Sisters, I believe a 254 MDef spot, but it doesn't matter. We are nuking before tornadoes. Farewell, Babaricha.
Yeah, with the speed, yeah, no, not a problem.
Not at all. The major headache fades away to obscurity. And well, let's see what characters wait for us.
Palom and Edge. No,
Ooh, nuts. Okay, wait, could still be Palom.
Here's the hoping.
I'm gonna say Kane. We haven't seen a Kane yet. You always have to have a Kane in the seed.
Well, you did get an Avenger. That'd be very nice.
Exactly.
Avenger of Adamant Kane, perfect timing.
Not bad, not bad. You know, pop one Siren. He has enough HP for the Reflect strat. Could be nice. Nuts.
Just a foo. I guess we'll have to make
mops
do with
and more at the mop store.
We'll make do with a party of 5 Fusoyas, I guess.
I guess. Let's see if that's enough for whatever waits for us here at Zot 2. Well, the 5th and final Sparkle. Quite nice to find, especially since that means we won't have to sit through a crumble animation here.
Yeah.
It's all about the minor time saves.
One Quake getting Stony through the fight.
That said, if not quite enough experience to get 3 of our foos to 2,000 hit points. Is that enough for Zeromus? Oh man, it should be a nice photo finish here as our runners Tybalt down 1 boss fight, but up a lot of power for that Z fight.
Yeah, that's gonna be the question. You know, the extra gear, the extra looting, will that pay off? With we saw those 8,000 versus 5,500 nukes. That does shave a lot of time off that Zeromus fight.
Yep, we're talking 8 spell animations versus 13. Maybe 12. One of the foos has some power. But also those extra adamant armor is going to bump up the agility of some of those foos. Get more nukes per nuke. Or rather, more nukes per time. Nukes per second, NPS. That's not the NPS that usually I'm being yelled at about.
We're getting the advanced sabermetrics here tonight.
Exactly. There are no detractors. There are just nukers. As we turn our battle speed down, we walk into Troya.
I do like that. Turning the battle speed down help get a couple of extra actions in, especially since we don't have the agility manipulation that we'd like to have to truly slow down the hero foo and anchor the fight.
Definitely. Plus, even at BS1, if things are perfect, we're going to be losing some time getting into those spell menus, especially having to press down or 2 buttons to get 2 black magic. Just going to slowly whittle away some ticks and have 1 very speedy Zeromus be even speedier. No silk webs in hand as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, you have to rely on slow casts from some of the Fusoyas to help get things in order, but speaking of getting things in order, we do have one more bit of business that we have to attend to, I think, contractually. And that's why all these Z flags are chat.
Yeah, I counted at least 6. There could be more. I don't know. I don't have my glasses on. But we are here at the end of our Hero's Journey, huh? There is no Baron to be seen, though. We enter outer space and face off against the big bad Zeromus, but he is big, he is bad, he is colorful. He is randomized. We do not move Zeromus. We do not change his script up. Instead, he gets an outfit. We must have at least one non-mop in the seed, and that will be taken and played by the role of Zeromus. So, Rowdy, what's the question?
Whose butt are we kicking this afternoon?
It's a lovely afternoon. It's lovely. It's sunny. His true colors emerged.
He shows his true colors, and that's why we love him.
His true colors does. We had the 2%. We need the 1%. It's Sephiroth, baby.
One of the few Sephiroth sprites in the pool. Certainly a fan favorite.
Hard to go wrong. First slow, a little bit early. Doesn't quite land on Sephiroth. But that's what we've got Nuke for. Stony playing it a little slow. Getting that nerf off, prepping the Cure 4 before planning anything too silly. The Nuke does hit our Starveil Fusoya.
See that speed already we've already seen the first shake from Zeromus there, while still trying to get before Stoney's had a chance to start getting the offense turned on. Still in the setup phase, finally getting that first nuke off.
Definitely. But the Battle Speed 3 also helping out a lot here. You saw that it wasn't until the 5th Fusoya had an action, or had the menu open and prepped to queue an action before, well, the first shake even happened. We have a little bit of leeway going on.
And, you know your Fusoya's MDef is high when the Big Bang, even when nerfed, only rolls for 188.
That's pretty good. Small bang in the chat. Relatively low roll. You're still taking one of the 4 rolls that you can hit there, but between 200 and 300 damage before your MDef takes off. 188 is pretty good to see. Tibble throws the crystal as well, sees the Sephiroth pop up, also starts queuing up those slow casts.
Yeah, it makes sense, with a reflex strat, you'd want to make sure you get those turns out. You don't want to see too many big bangs, because that starts to divert your resource, your time and your attention from the offense and back into healing mode. You want to try and wrap these fights up as quickly as you can.
Exactly. Plus, with only a fixed amount of MP in our pools, the slow casts are taken away from our nuke time, but we've only got about 15 to chew through. Those animations take time, those animations take MP. You don't want to have to heal it, you don't want to have to replenish, you don't have to ether, you just want damage. But so does Sephiroth. Start shaking on Stoney's side.
Yeah. Good nuke roll there. 7,500 there.
Opts for a white with the Fusoya using the Sephirim staff. Going to be a little bit of extra oomph there, despite a little longer cast animation.
Yeah, I do like that call. Like you said, it's a slower spell casting time, so you don't get as many white spells out as you do nukes, but that extra bit of damage could add up.
Yep, also lands the slow to nerf the Big Bang in time. Counter nuke hits our Starveil again. Fortuitous little targeting going on there. Big Bang 2 comes out, nuke is queued. I haven't been counting. This might do the trick though.
Not quite getting the Starveil.
Starveil timing a little early too. But that's what this next Starveil's for.
Yep, now the black hole comes out to nullify the Starveil. Stony already in position to get it back up and keep the offense going.
The nukes are flying over on Tibble's side. 95-76. gonna be
There's
enough.
the crack, there's the crumble.
Dibble with the extra pow, boom, bang from those Stardust rods, from the adamant armors, from leaving some of those LST fights behind, has a little bit of extra damage to take down Sephiroth just before Stony does the same.
Heck of a race there. Heck of a finish between these two runners.
Definitely. Dibble clocks in with an official time 125.56, takes second in the race. Stony a 126.09. Runners only 13 seconds apart. We did also have our off-screen finisher, Scarcerer, the third runner in the race, taking it down with 121.44 as well.
GG's to Scar, to Tybalt, Stony, to all of our runners. Great job getting through the seed.
Definitely. Close little photo finish. If everybody finishes within 5 minutes of each other, it's a solid race all around.
Oh, absolutely.
But as our screen fades away from 10 mops, we are going to see if we can get both runners in here for a little bit of an interview. It looks like we are joined by Tybalt. GG's, Tybalt.
GG's.
Fun little photo finish, and we're also joined in by Stony. A little bit of dual interview action. GG's to Stony, too.
GG to both of you.
GG, everyone.
So, let's go to minute 1. Minute negative 10 even in this race. You load up the seed. You are staring at a mop. Walk us through your guys' first thoughts.
I had some ideas. If it was like Vanilla Foo, I probably would have gone like Evelyn first, checking to see if Miab's wrong. Because I didn't even look at the weighting beforehand, because I wanted a true mystery. Then I saw it wasn't Vanilla Foo, and I'm like, okay, let's go get some spells on the Foo first. Maybe check the shops and see if it's free, and apples and do like an apple seed, but those weren't true, so it was just a matter of let's get Foo spells.
Definitely. And Stony, how about you? Minute negative 10. We saw you stares at you.
Yeah, I was not expecting a food, especially since it was weighted so low to actually have them. So my thought process leading up to the race wasn't even imagining that I was going to have a food. So once it came around, questions started coming up in my head. What do I do first? My first instinct was to get some spells, and then I didn't realize that Sineki was off, so a lot of the times I'm just expecting Sineki to be on. So once I hit that plague at Myth Cave with 1 damage, I exited out of there, not even thinking I can just whack it with the Lunar Staff.
Good old Lunar Staff. And with that, you guys both touched on that getting spells aspect, and you saw that in your early game routing. Both pretty similar, a little bit of touch and go, some shopping. You guys find out about S Wild at different times. One of the big questions I had as we were going through things was, why did we do Fool Defense before going down for that Magma Key? It worked out great for you both, picking up that Ice 3 spell, letting you do some of those more early game checks. But what prompted such a decision?
I mean, why go underground early? You don't know what your key items are going to be, whether it's going to be Moon, Summon, Miabs. At that point, you're just trying to find, hopefully Spike in the Pan there at Fubul, get some extra spells. Really don't want to do Waterfall because I only had, Ice 1, and I wanted something before doing Ordeals or even Baron in. To get more spells before going underground. And then, of course, you want to have Warp before doing Dwarf Castle.
Oh, definitely, especially with the Warp glitch, which did hit this one. Just an hourglass, but always a nice reassurance.
Yeah, my mentality was just kind of get the spells that I need, hopefully pick up a Quake, pick up a Nuke, pick up something that'll help me do the checks underground. That way I can knock them all out once I'm down there and just be on my way.
seek out that power and then go for the efficient clear.
That's it.
Kept doing me abs, hoping they would spike a key item. Didn't get one because it was just came in and summon. But I mean, picking up a few adamants along the way doesn't hurt.
Yeah, and on that adamant, kind of one of the big tail end time saves that was going on, those 5 Stardust rods that you picked up in Eblin, plus the extra Stardust rods in hand, led to a few thousand more damage per nuke on the side of your Fusoyas. You entered the Golbez fight a little behind, but picked up a little bit of time and got out first, then saved a little bit more time in Zeromus. Once you found out about S Wild, how much shopping were you planning? And with the extra armor shop checks, were you looking for curse strings, more adamant armors, or what?
I wasn't so much looking for adamants. I was looking for either curse string or a ninja hat. To be completely honest.
Yeah,
I had a crystal ring.
Agility threshold.
Yeah, I had that crystal ring, so my options were either curse string or ninja hat. Didn't find either one. And I went, fine, I've got an Artemis bow, I'll just sit at 30 agility. It'll be fine. Better to go over than under.
Definitely. Nobody wants a 27 agility Zeromus fight.
No, it would have been 25. Ugh. Still bad.
Well, that's most of what I've got. Rowdy, what questions do you have?
Well, I'd like to talk about the both of you when you first got got the darkness crystal. You both decided to go and clear out the objective and the White Spear altar, but you took different approaches to how to go about the lunar subterranean. What influenced your decision as far as going to focus on clearing that out, or going to check out Cave Bahamut first?
Well, I knew at least it was going to be K-Main, K-Summon, so in my thought process, I knew Earth Crystal was going to be at cave value. I had the pass, so I figured I'd go do White Spear. If that ends up turning to be, like Spoon or something like that, to turn on K-Moon, then I'm right down there to go check the Ribbon Room and Masa Altar right next to each other. That's why I saved before I exited out. Biggest thing was having the pass. Didn't have the pass, like I do a little bit differently because I had to walk all the way down to the White Spear anyways.
Yeah, my mentality was, and I didn't even consider K-Moon not being on. My heart was telling me go check Cave Bahamut, but my brain told me that wasn't the logical decision, just because I wasn't sure if I just needed 5 objectives or if I needed all 6. So I decided to do the White Spear, and it just kind of took me down that rabbit hole instead of going with my heart for one.
Well, if you did handle that seed very well, you certainly cleaned up with the plethora of mops that you were given at your disposal.
Yeah. 17 out of 17. Doesn't always feel great.
Yeah, but I mean, it is what it is. You get those seeds, but at least it was a mop and not an Edward having to go 17 out of 17. So
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
No, but think of the joys. You could have had an Apollo harp.
Yeah, we probably would have gotten Requiem.
Even better, agility.
The eternal optimist, and the eternal pessimist.
I tried.
Well, no, the Loki loot's better than Apollo. Let's be real here.
I mean,
the spoon would have definitely been the last key item we found too. If that
oh yeah, no, it would have been the exact same seed, just replace the foos with Edwards.
No. Ugh.
We found an arty bow somewhere, I think.
Yeah, I had 2 arty bows.
For sale somewhere.
And I had Artemis arrows I could buy, so yeah.
Silver linings,
Yeah. All in all, it was quite fun.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you both had fun, and I'm glad that you got to put on such a fun race for us all. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah, no problem. It's always a pleasure. It's one club I thoroughly enjoy. I've always enjoyed Sea Hero because it kind of breaks the meta of like knowing what your agility anchoring is going to be, and you're going to have to plan around that. So the years where it's always a center person, now it's not. Figure it out.
Yep. Well, we look forward to the next head-to-head between you two. Can you give us any clues on what heroes we might be seeing next week? Or is it just going
Uh,
to be a dive?
uh, it's per the rules, Scarcer gets to pick,
Oh,
so we have no
even
idea.
better.
Yeah.
Complete mystery. We don't get to pick a brain. All right.
No.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing what they pick then.
Yeah, like I tend to go back and forth between the difficult and the easier ones, but yeah, no, it's Scarcer picking this time.
I know they were rooting for 5 Tetlas at the start, so we might be seeing something Tela related for the next week.
Then that would be the Great Sage. But we'll definitely have to see.
Pancras, that does it for my questions. So I just want to say real quick again, GG to Stony, GG to Tibble. Both of you ran a hell of a race and very nicely done. Thank you again for agreeing to be restreamed.
Yeah, not a problem. Always a pleasure, and GG's to Stone. It was a close race there at the end.
Yeah, thank y'all for doing the restream and the commentary and the tracking as usual. I appreciate that. It's nice to be able to make these clubs stay alive and have fun doing it. So good GG's to Tybalt, GG's to Scarthurer, and looking forward to next week.
Hey, GG's. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good one, all.
Well, Pancras, that pretty much wraps it up here for today. We saw one heck of a race here for this mystery seed. They certainly solved it very well. And now, what's next on the docket for us?
Yeah, well, nothing else to solve for us here on Free Enterprise. We look forward to the next week of club races, but for the rest of this afternoon, you all get to enjoy a little bit of Free Enterprise community action. We're just about over here, but we are going to send you on over for a little bit more fun and action as one of our friends and community members, Dijon Ketchup, is being featured over on the Games Done Quick channel. We're going to go have a little bit of fun with some DuckTales as we are benefiting the National Women's Law Center over there. A little bit of a marathon with the Frost Fatalis going on right now. So you all can go over, enjoy a little bit more speedrun action, and hopefully enjoy the rest of your afternoons. I've been Pancras. This has been Rowdy with me. We've got Firebird Lover behind us. We have Fallgran pressing all those buttons. It's been a fantastic time here in the booth with you all today. Thank you all for joining. Don't forget to run, or rather to follow our runners, our commentary team, all that fun stuff. And let's go cheer on a little bit of charity action.